Okay, everybody. So, welcome to our weekly seminar series, which actually is the last one, apparently. I forgot that next week we don't have one because it's a complementary day, whatever. So, Marina, we're very honored that we are hosting you in our last and you're concluding our seminar series. And some words about Marina. She was born and raised in Moscow, in Russia, graduated at Bauman Moscow State Technical University in 2017 with a bachelor in technical physics. She worked in Prokhorov Institute of Applied Physics of Russian Academy of Sciences as research assistant, doing shallow water acoustic in water bodies with highly reflective sediments and a bit of Arctic research. She then received a master's degree at the University of Haifa here in 2020 at the Marine Geosciences department, in our department, with a thesis on noise interferometry in shallow water supervised by Professor Boris Katzenelson. Currently, as for October 2025, starting from October 2025, she submitted her PhD thesis, and which consisted.
February, I'm doctor.
Oh, it's not updated, your CV. You should update it. So she is already a doctor. Congratulations, Marina. And she published 4 papers. Yep. And integrating theoretical, experimental, and methodological advances in modal approach to underwater acoustic, refining knowledge in frequency and range-dependent sound dispersion and methodology of source-independent geoacoustic inversion. Now you need to say it back. Currently, she is working at the Hebrew University in oceanography, researching remote sensing methods for currents in rivers and open sea. So thank you very much, and the podium is yours.
Hey, hi everyone. Today I will be presenting my work on modal characteristic of underwater acoustic waveguide and geoacoustic inversion for wideband signal in a coastal area. Yeah, it's not full screen here.
I see. I will fix that.
Okay.
But they say that it's okay. If I do this way, they don't see it. Well, let's handle that like that. Okay. It's more important that you see. Okay.
So this work is a part of my PhD project. Here you go, my co-authors and colleagues, Professor Katzenelson, Dr. Stevjansky, Dr. Andreyukov, and Professor Putin is not on this picture, but appreciate him a lot from Naval Postgraduate School of Pennsylvania.
Voice just to listen.
Okay. So this talk will consist of a short introduction into the basic concepts, so you guys catch up on the basic stuff, and there will be content of 3 out of 4 papers that I published during my PhD. So let's start really quick. So what are the acoustical modes? Because we will talk about them this whole hour. When people ask me, I usually say it's like eigenfunctions in quantum physics, but nobody likes this answer. So I show you this presentation, show you this video. When sound is trapped in between the surface and the bottom of the ocean, the sound field consists of the sound field doesn't spread just spherically, it spreads spherically the first few meters, and then it separates into independently moving acoustical modes. Each of them has its eigenfunction, so it has a vertical structure and they move independently. The acoustical modes satisfy through this simple wave equation. So the sound field can be presented as a sum of eigenfunctions and their phase and their amplitudes. You can also think of the acoustical modes as a beginning of propagation as parts of the field at different angles, which will be helpful in further research that I will be talking about, because we can use some geometrical optics to also get some parameters. What I will talk about a lot also is modal dispersion. Each mode has its own speed. They satisfy to this equation, and as you can see, each mode has its own vertical and horizontal wave number, and because these numbers are different for each frequency, the modes propagate at a different speed. So on this picture, you can see a recording of sound field made on a vertical line array. At the far range, you can see that this first mode comes, and the second arrives, and the third. So if it's far enough, they are separated in time. What we also like that they are separated in frequency. We will see a lot of dispersion diagrams like this. Here is phase, speed, and frequency, and each of these beautiful hyperbolas are its own mode. So using these beautiful diagrams, we can separate the modes, and by the dependency of the speed on frequency, we can judge about the medium it propagates through, especially sound speed in the bottom, density, water column parameters, etc. At last, we will talk about sound sources. They are separated by active sound sources, like we can see here. We use the similar one like Kinneret. They are controlled transmissions, and the second type is passive listening, when we are recording and using as a signal the noise. The noise can be diffuse and non-diffuse. Diffuse noise is anisotropic and delta correlated, and the non-diffuse noise comes through a limited number of directions. It's not omnidirectional, and it can be generated by shipping noise, industrial objects, etc. So the diffuse noise is a textbook example, and we will be talking about non-diffuse noise here. The ship noise is very interesting. Here we can see a visualization of ship noise in the Red Sea as an example, and it consists of particular shipping lines, like the busy avenues of the sea, which are helpful to us to use as signals, because we know where roughly the ships are. And why doesn't it? No. And the last, at the introduction, we should mention short and long range noise. Short signal. Short propagation is tens to hundreds meters. It has interference and diffractions near the source, and the vertical structure matters, and the longer range, several kilometers and more, we can see clear modal structures, even though we can see modes in the short propagation. In the long propagation, the modes are separated in time, and we can see them very clearly. Again, it doesn't want to. Thank you.
Sure, do it.
All right. We'll also talk about the wedge, coastal wedge sound propagation. Coastal wedges are everywhere, so it's a typical picture for a lot of seas and lakes, etc. And what's interesting about them is that the modes, first of all, when they don't fit into the depths that is at some point, energy of the modes leaks into the bottom. Here it's equidistant because it's a straight line, but in general there is such manifestation of modal fluctuation of the energy of the sound field into the bottom. And the second interesting thing is that there are some nonlinear effects that appear with the modes when they are propagating upslope and downslope, especially mode coupling, where the modes, even though they are independent, they can come close to each other in eigenvalues and exchange energy. This is close to a tunnel effect in quantum physics, and it's very interesting. The last concept here is noise cross-correlation functions. The main idea is when we have textbook anisotropic noise, omnidirectional noise, where if we take two receivers, 2-point receivers A and B, we record noise and cross-correlate it. The cross-correlation function will be like two delta functions. And the distance in between 0 and these delta functions will be the time it takes to propagate from one point to another. But if we have some different parameters of the space, as this correlation function actually approximates the Green's function of this medium. The Green's function is a function showing how the signal changes during the propagation, and we can use it as a signal and separate into modes and have this whole procedure of geoacoustic inversion. So here we see an example of this. Nice paper, also by me. I will not talk about it today, it's famous enough. Here are this delta function like x. It's a cross correlation on the horizontal array, so we have a lot of cross correlation functions side by side. And each of them carries the information about propagation. All right, so let's get to the actual content. First paper we published in Acoustical Physics in 2022 consists of an original experiment design. The experiment we did in Lake Kinneret in 2019. And this design was made specially for the method that we propose for estimating the dispersion characteristics of the sound and for from them we can estimate the parameters of the waveguide. Next one, please. All right, so here is the experiment. We have two vertical line arrays. The distance between the arrays is small compared to the distance between the ship and the arrays themselves. It is comparable to the depths. It was equal to the depths in our experiment, but it can be several depths also. And the ship is going on a straight line connecting two vertical line arrays. And what is important about it, in this configuration, we don't need to know the ship's exact speed and coordinates to do the geoacoustic conversion, which is also novel and very useful. Next one. A few more words about the experiment itself. Here we have the map of the experiment. Two arrays were at 40 meters from each other. The depth near them was also 40 meters. The ship was moving on a straight line from 500 meters to a kilometer from the arrays. And here, as you can see, it was summer. Each array was spanned in the water column with distance between hydrophones of 3 meters, which affects how many modes we can separate here. And a small research vessel, Mona, was serving as a moving sound source. Next one. So this is a spectrogram of noise that we recorded. As you can see on this spectrogram, the noise is has a complex spectrum and it's higher in the area of smaller frequencies, like from 50 to 250 that we used. So we had to lighten the noise. That's it for this slide. Next one. So how do we talk about the sound field on these arrays? From the formulas that I already showed, it consists of eigenfunction at source, eigenfunction at the receiver, phase, and spherical, not spherical, diffusion coefficient. And the difference in between these two lines are this delta R here and here. It is most important in the phase and is less important here, but you still have to take it into account. Next one. So next we move to modal amplitudes. Modal amplitudes are made from sum of sound field and multiplied by the wave function, wave eigenfunction. So what we did here is a bit of a twist. We didn't want to assume anything about the bottom. So we took all the possible eigenfunctions and we constructed the eigenfunctions for all the possible eigenvalues and put them here and made it into the diagram. Next one. Nicholas, are you sleeping? So next we constructed a ratio-like diagram. So what it means that what we have here is a ratio of modal amplitudes on eastern and western array with a um, uh, phase difference in between the sound fields on both arrays. And it is averaged over the movement of the ship. Why did we do that? Because from this formula, we can, where the eigenvalue is equal to the eigenvalue of the mode when it's found, it is roughly equal to this formula, which can give us the model attenuation coefficients. And next one. Next one is the results that we got. Now I'm sorry that the pictures are small. I expected them to be more visible, but as you can see, we have nice dispersion curves on this diagram. Here is the phase velocity and frequency, and here is the frequency and mood number. The white lines are the modeled dispersion curves for the soft bottom. And so this proves that we can actually retrieve model information like this, and then we can track this hyperbolas and run some matching procedure, but it's all state of the art and not interesting. Oh, it worked.
Now it works.
Yes.
Okay.
So conclusion here is simple, that separate modes. We built a new approach that separates modes and estimates the parameters from ship noise recorded by two synchronized closely spaced array. We don't need the exact location and speed of the ship to do that, and we need more data and further study to estimate the uncertainties and robustness of this method, but so far it is robust with a lot of noise in the lake. So the further research is here. We decided to go deeper into the model characteristics theoretically and with synthetic data. And we were also talking about the theory behind what happens when we have a low sound speed bubbly supplementary layer like we see in Kinneret. So once again, the same picture of the experiment concept. Here I want to remind you that here is a short propagation and here is long propagation. So in between the arrays, we see interference patterns in the vertical and horizontal directions. And the combination of them acts as a diffraction grating and gives us more information of the than one-dimensional or single vertical line array. Here are some parameters of the model. So they are pretty typical. The sound speed in the layer is a little bit lower than actual Kinneret sedimentary layer, but we took it for, and a little bit thicker, but we took it for more contrast and more visible effects. So everything else is basically how it is in the lake. So we start with the same formulas. Here the only difference is the spectrum that we erased in the previous work. And And now we are actually using the modes that are calculated for specific parameters, because we are making the synthetic sound field, so we need them. And here are our beautiful modes without parameters that we are again taking with only one boundary condition at the top. And what we do next is calculating the amplitudes for any given value of Q eigenumber and the mode number. Here we have this term that is an integral of eigenfunction and the one boundary eigenfunction that I will show you closer. So here is a formula for it. The interesting thing that here is a part of the diagram of water sound speed, and here is a part of the diagram for lower sound speed in water, so for the layer. And here we have this skinny maximum that lays exactly where the dispersion curve lays. And here it becomes this giant triangle at some frequency. This is because we don't have the hydrophones inside the layer, so the uncertainty blows up. But simultaneously, we have we see this frequency at which it happens loud and clear. So for now, it's enough for us. A bit more formulas. So here we have the construction of cross-correlation function. Here, instead of taking a ratio, we conjugate the two, we convolute, whatever. We take this multiplication basically of matrix multiplication of two amplitudes, and we average it over the source movement or source depth. Doesn't actually matter, but we get the diagonal of resulting matrix, which is giving us some computational ease, and correlation function constructed. Here he has this simple formula. Okay, so here is how it looks. Here's the absolute value and imaginary value of cross-correlation function. The theoretical dispersion curves are here in black, here in white. And as you can see, the maximum of the cross-correlation function lays where dispersion curves are laying. And here the dispersion curves are laying along the zeros of the imaginary part. And this periodicity depends on the actual distance in between the arrays. And how many phases the sound can run in between these two arrays. So here are our old friends, sound speed and frequency diagrams. In black, there are maxima and zeros, and in white, there are the dispersion curves that are modeled. Here, the color is a model of sum of modes. The field is the sum of modes, so it's a adiabatic model. Here is a parabolic equation model. It's a very well-known state-of-the-art method for sound propagation evaluation, and it takes into account non-linear effects. So these pictures are a little different. Here is the zero part because the rate didn't fit higher modes, but as we can see for both pictures, there is a good correspondence of maxima of correlation function and dispersion curves that we modeled, and somewhat less in imaginary part. So it's more sensitive to various inaccuracies, but it's more sensitive in general. If this was noisy, I would prefer this one. So a bit of conclusions in the middle, so you don't get bored. Critical frequencies with calculated dispersion curves are clearly visible in the diagrams, forming the distance bars as the critical frequencies. Near the critical value for mode n, the dispersion behaviors of mode n+1, n+2 changes. So as we can see here, this dispersion curve gets closer to this one and then acts like the continuation of that. Like if it was one long hyperbola, it would make something like this. But when the leakage is occurring, the next mode kind of stands in the place of the previous one. And we will see it a little closer. So we calculated a lot of model parameters. As we can see, eigenvalues, model attenuation, phase speed, group speed, maximum model amplitude in water and sediment layers. And we everywhere with frequency, we see this equidistant from frequency changes in model behavior, even at the frequencies where there is no leakage of nth mode, where the leakage of previous mode, it has some changes in group speed, phase speed, attenuation, etc. So let's take a little closer look. As I showed before, they become closer, and this part of this can be described as a quasi-crossing. So why does it happen? Why there is such synchronicity? Because the modes are moving independently. Why would they behave like this? That's because the zeros of the n+1 mode always have to be in between the zeros of nth mode. So when one zero goes into the layer, the ones of the modes near to them all of them have to go into the layer one by one. Again, it doesn't work. Okay. Can you please put on the movie? Oh, okay, it's working. So pay attention to this part. It is a sedimentary layer part of the eigenfunctions, and here will be simultaneous jumps in the amplitude. This is how it works. And so one by one, the zeros go into the layer. So how do we find this? Those frequencies? It's very easy. You only need to know the sound speeds and mode number and the densities. That's it. And the distance in between these frequencies is even easier to find. So here we considered the correlation and analysis of mode recorded on two VLAs where there is one moving source. But actually there is a way to make a more realistic non-anisotropic diffuse noise processing for the same thing, same two vertical line arrays. So as I already mentioned, the cross correlation functions is the sum of acoustic Green's functions describing sound propagation in opposite directions in between 2 points. Here, alpha and beta depend on the spectral and spatial distribution of the noise sources. So that's basically what we need. And the mode attenuation coefficient is small, and the noise is assumed to be realistic. So out of this function, we get a nice, a little bit longer function that actually works in 3D, no matter where the sound sources are located. And a bit more of conclusions. This methodology provides insight into the sediment properties. Again, if we take these dispersion curves and we can run the geoacoustic inversion, and we can take these frequencies that we get from the experiment and know the ratio of sound speed and density from here. But there are some problems. The problem is that amplitude of the trapped modes in the layer can be exceptionally small. And another problem is that there is significant attenuation in the gas layer, which impacts measurement. But however, no matter what, it can work with these frequencies that should be visible. And we move to another part of this presentation. Here we don't have any cross correlations, but we have the same kinetic-like realistic parameters. Here are some formulas so you don't get bored while I talk. We have kinetic-like realistic parameters of wedge waveguide. We have a strong thermocline. Here it is 20 meters, so it's longer than actual kinetic short, but for simplicity, we took 20 meters thermocline, realistic sound speeds, realistic attenuation, and everything like that. We should see here the same wave equation as always. How the sound speed presents, and here are the boundary conditions here. And for a very simplistic model, we took the eigenfunctions as simple sinusoidal and cosinusoidal functions, in which these parameters are determined by eigenvalues, and eigenvalues are determined by a small transcendental equation. And for this tiny part where the thermocline is not here, where we have only hot water on top, it's even simpler, and there is a small tiny equation for this for the eigenvalues. So we simulated first modes as a first model sound field of one mode adiabatically, so as a sum of modes that I show here. And we see this nice picture with some shade and light. So the mode is the source is at 10 meters depth or 5-meter depth in the shade zone, the mode doesn't get excited at all. And if it's here, it does get excited in this model. And we call this distance where it between when it doesn't get excited and it does RD. So here the mode is called bottom reflected, and here it is bottom and surface reflected. And there is another critical point which we call RB that is where the mode doesn't fit in this depth and it's leaking into the bottom. So remember this curve from the previous slide, we constructed it for multiple modes and we calculated for 500 Hertz the modal zones, as we call them, the zones where the mode will adiabatically exist if excited in this zone. So for these zones are some formulas. As I said, this is some simple geometrical optics. I don't think it's very interesting. We can look at the slides later. What do we do here? Model amplitudes. And here is the formula for the parabolic equation approximation, which I was talking about before. And here is the result. So what we see here, this is a adiabatic modal sound field, and this is parabolic equation. So here's the last mode that gets excited with the sound source at 5 meters and 5 kilometers. Here is 6 mode. So modes 1 to 5 don't get excited and they don't exist here. But in this model, as you can see, here is the light, so they do exist. So how does it happen? Why do they exist here but not here? We constructed the model relative amplitude, and we see here that when mode 6 approaches the modal zone boundary for mode 5 starts gaining some energy. And it gains some energy, and here it happens again for the next mode, and here for the next mode. And there is such cascade effects of exchanging of energy in between the modes. So is it actually Landau-Zener effect that that is mathematically like tunnel effect? We had to check that. So if we can see here, there are eigenvalues and distance. And from this plot, we can take a close-up of each quasi-intersection. It is such hyperbola. For this hyperbola, we need the angle and half distance between the hyperbolas. And we put it into Landau-Zener formula, which gives us the information that the modes are given approximately 40% of the energy to the next mode while doing quasi-intersection. And it actually is consistent with the prediction. Our numerical result is almost the same. So how else we can see it? If we take 2 vertical line arrays at some distances of 700 meters, 1300 meters from the beach, they can only catch 2 modes and 4 modes respectively. And here, if they were moving adiabatically, they would appear here and here, but because of this cascade effect, they are slowly gaining some amplitude way further than that. And here's the conclusion of this part. What I wanted to say is that there is a quantum-like effect in acoustical modes and the coastal wedge, and this part can give some ideas for localization of the source. Well, there is a lot of conclusions, but I'm not reading them. Let's go to the full conclusion of everything. So first, two papers are complementary pair of research with experiments and numerical simulation and theory. And obviously, we need more research on that with different arrays, a different distance between the arrays, and maybe different lake. I don't know. Chapter 3, extensive investigation of the role of bathymetry, showing how wedge environments alter the modal energy distribution and highlight the sensitivity of dispersion patterns to changes in the waveguide geometry. So in combination, we did move a little bit from the state of the art, which was the whole point. So I wrote some more research directions that we will need to address at some point, someone. The experimental validation is needed for chapters 1 and 2. And the refinement of localization and inversion algorithms that can estimate the position of an unknown sources or determine properties of the propagation medium without explicit knowledge of source location, exploring the performance of synchronized receiving systems in different geometries, maybe get a third one and validate with localization, and explore more of the frequency dependence of model structure in layered waveguides, which appear to be extremely interesting. So that's it. Here how you can contact me, follow my research gate. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And I open the podium for questions from the audience. Somebody? And also in Zoom,
Okay,
somebody has a question.
good. Where is it? There is something in the chat, no?
No, the chat was, I cannot hear you or something like that.
Ah, okay,
To me.
good. Yeah.
You use something sensor to do the echo sound, or even the sound of the ships crossing up.
I only use the sound of the ship. In this three works, in this work, I don't use the whole sound, whole noise with and environmental noise, only in one ship.
Okay,
Yeah. But if we have a shipping line, we can do the same and use multiple ships. Because we don't need to know where they are, they just go in the back and forth and check something.
is you only the physical one, the physical type of this research, or how the sound effect on
No, we didn't have any biological aspects. Sound obviously affects the marine environment and all bioacoustic field of research, which I'm not part of.
Okay, thank you very much again. Congrats for being a doctor.
Thank you.
And happy summer.
Happy 4th of July.
Why you not?
Thank you.